international music. You. Damn, this blue ink reminds me of Rose, reminds me of handcuff on knees, stuffing my toes. Run for my clothes, proceed to pick my pocket, looking for coke or crack, hoping that they find a gap. Now, little do they know, I don't need that, me not need that. Word sound, I clap. Study like a nerd now and won't take crap. Don't call me black, I will correct you. I'm not being rude or trying to disrespect you. Not into hybrid thoughts, master left you. Illegal, unlawful ways, boys will get you. Paying out the ass, maybe boys will let you. Make a living selling crack from Scarp to Neptune. Might kick your door in while you're snoring on a Friday, so no bail till Monday morning. Charges rise like rivers and rain is pouring. Streets need to provide a disclaimer warning. Like back in the day, older heads did say, keep your mind on your books, don't walk this way. On this path, you will be led astray. Using your palm or cell bars as an ashtray. It might seem cool, cause I'm in the fast lane, but when they owe you money, you wanna blast the brain. Eyes up, don't watch my kicks or my Chardonnay. Stop skipping class and acting a fool. Help mom shoot some hoops or play some pool. Eyes up, they used to say. Don't watch my kicks or my Chardonnay. Stop skipping class, I'm acting a fool. Get in this tribe like man D said. You wanna know about these streets? First thing you have to do is get some heat. Things change when I was young like you. Butterfly nights and fists and pops after school. Rules and codes, no heads with holes. Most you get is a swole lip or a busted nose. That's 1990. But now they getting grimy. Friends are enemies. That's not pigs behind me in the club with my eyes shiny. On the speaker from Stacy getting dirty winery. After the club, Trump's trying to find me. He's Stacy's insecure, crazy ass baby daddy. All cause the custody was late and I bumped into cuz that just got out the pen for smuggling drugs. It's been a while, so we just hit up the club. What's bug? And gave me a chill. He's smuggling still. Moved up from coke, now he's smuggling pills. 1 week later, shot up at the rave with Bill. A cop told me some of them are safe, but still won't put anything past them. They robbed me. And the one that told me about cuz was laughing Audie all the time. I know pigs have it out for me. Here's an undercover looking for a chop, pardon me. Just say I steered you right if they murder me. Eyes up, they used to say. Watch out for beasts, don't walk this way. Don't get in the game, don't say my name. Don't look, drop your book, this is insane. Eyes up, they used to say. Watch out for beasts, don't walk this way. Don't get in the game, don't say this life ain't right and won't ease your pain. They used to say, don't watch my kicks or my Chardonnay. Stop skipping class and acting a fool. Help mom shoot some hoops or play some pool. Eyes up, they used to say, don't watch my kicks or my Chardonnay. Stop skipping class, I'm acting a fool. Get in this tribe like man, you really a fool. Intelligent. He's got a gun and badge as his defense. My offense is my rights with intelligence. Colors on our nations, just a semblance. Babylon's wall will fall with intelligence. I'm back. More sheep, more iron. More heads in the hands and front mics crying. More props. Big up yourself, you sellout agent. Stopped at the light, nodding to this in your conveyance. General Khalid Muhammad said he's a more. Fake Nuwapians say don't put L after your. Fake NOI burn Elijah Cool Bay pics. All you could do is break my bones with stones and sticks. Toronto, conscious cool town for boule clones. No entry with a felon, lectures over the phone. With intelligence Hence we don't break, we bend. Send energy back and forth in sequence, forth and back. Most don't want me on a track. I tell rappers about their tight shirts and showing ass cracks, not actions. Ignorance makes you a sinner. Get up from under and understand, conscious beginner. Become energy dinner or appetizers. Speakers beg my flow to come through the amplifiers. With no mic check, few takes through mic wires. Now rappers co-defendants are gas liars. He's got a gun and badge as his defense. My offense is my rights with intelligence. Colors on our nations, just a semblance. Babylon's wall will fall with intelligence. Some call the racists having us in their pens because of your ignorance and no intelligence. Colors on our nations, just a semblance. Babylon's wall will fall with intelligence. Alchemists on beats, no full metal. Rapping dummies, glimmering ignorance wells and sea pebbles. You got nothing, fronting like it's precious stones. Think you got money cause they gave you a loan. In the mirror, do you see X or P Newton? Do you see a black or more or a European? Do you see a Trinbagonian or Jamaican? Or a member of Earth's first pop? Do you see in the mirror a goddess like T or a sellout supporting Master Hill figure? Ask in the mirror, how you looking straight veinness? Negroes see the God but acting ignorance. Some look and see wives of self-shapeshift. Some look and find the truth in eyes dark places. Revlon and Maybelline fake faces. Makeup cat and hot ex-slave mental cases. With blonde weaves, that's not bad of course. Forgot to mention Rome, blonde hair identified horse. We are not guilty but want to be innocent. Guilt is responsible, intelligence. He's got a gun and badge as his defense. My offense is my rights with intelligence. Colors on our nations, just a semblance. Babylon's wall will fall with intelligence. Some call the racists having us in their pens because of your ignorance and no intelligence. Colors on our nations, just a semblance. Babylon's wall will fall with intelligence. Let them know. Islam. Let them know. Let them know. Moorish MC order. I'm a round table sheiks. 7 days in a circle and 52 weeks. Dirty Moors copycat and bite the prophet's speech. I'm L without taking a Hajj like Malik. In a group of solo, like Raphael Sadiq. Walking over rappers, like stepping over a creek. Exposing you dappers, dressing like Greeks. Showing off cheeks, thong wearing whale freaks. Suck like a leech, I'm the nerd you kick sand on at the beach. Verbally your face I stand on, back to teach. Learn a lesson, as the piano soothes your mood. Lyrical weed, beat brain food, you turn God. Applying what I speak, the truth, they burn and lie through their teeth. Denationalized, jack for all your supplies and knowledge from the high priest on the mental highs. Bringing you light, giving you sight, close your eyes to pray. Get shackled at night, now they're giving you trike. Tales of ox, feed of pigs and soup. You've been bamboozled, tricked, had and duped. Won't fight your own fight, but you join their troops. Killing others around the world just to stay out the news. Won't fight your own fight, but you join their troops. Killing others around the world just to stay out the noose. Let them know. Use the mic to let them know. Let them know. What up, brother Hanif? Use the mic to let them know. This is like Jurassic. They got your birthright. Knowledge is light. They calling you black and you're calling them white. Your name's Mikael and they calling you Mike. Earth shadow is the darkness, they calling it night. Sodom and Gomorrites are called gays and dykes. False education appears real, they calling it fright. Chic on this beat, you're calling it tight. Effects from the roach blunt, calling it heights. With a razor blade on my line, I'm cutting your kites. Rapping blood clot dummies, worry about scuffing the nights. Feminized in tight shirt, showing muscles and ice. Deals, got them acting like the 3 blind mice. Rhyming for nursery, laying play for Andrew Dice. I'm pro, you're Joe, the beat is spike. Can't take my flow, you hope I ease it right. I keep it coming like food and aki, peas and rice. No coleslaw, tonic roots, please, no Sprite. 5 cents for a bag, yo, I don't need it, alright. 65, 35, fam, no need to fight. Studio time paid with knowledge, time to leave the mic. Let them know. Use the mic to let them know. Let them know. Use the mic to let them know the truth about nationality and birthright. Let them know.
Agenda to the T, that massive. Ready for the Gideon Babylon with my shit. We give them what they want, so them want come stash it. We're ready for tech back with things and lash it. Unified is the camp, nationality your stamp. When we dealing with the land, we talk attaching this man. So who the white man, who the black man? When the law was written by the brown hand, inspiration from a universal realm, so to distort the realness and take the film. Keeping world under lock and key. Yo, cameras everywhere watching me. Check it, claim of right to be who I am. Public notice from seas to the land. Who's ready to stand? I am in propia persona. To hell with the fiat and the fake money launderers. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It's time for the people to wake to injustices. Under contract, mind for combat. Natural law, enemies got to fall back. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It's time for the people to wake to injustices. Under contract, mind for combat. Natural law, enemies got to fall
back. Let them know. Use the mic to let them know. Let them know. Use the mic to let them know the truth about nationality and conscious coons play tough in email wars, back and forth like waves crashing on seashores, questioning my MC skills like magistrates when KKK men treat you like the savages. Why? Cause they uphold the Constitution. Dred Scott could tell you ex-slaves lack a constitution. In war, for some there's collateral damage. Moors are the shrine of the shrine of maggots. Take heed, matter of fact, take this book that I know you won't read or take a look. Won't even turn one page in it. That's why I'm finished teaching y'all the game. Y'all just love to scrimmage. Run to YouTube to quote minions' opinions that stroke your chakras, got you thinking that's wisdom. Knowledge of self means get knowledge of self. You can tap the cell memory on the DNA shelf. Can teach you how to be overt or stealth. Black Peter is sent the slave. That's where they get the L's. For real, told you I'm serious. I'm not joking. You might see the locks, but don't think that I'm smoking. Not cause hybrids claim Europe means that I'm roping and dunking them in fire and brimstone with lava molten. I quicker toss a rapper in the flaming pit and toss a sellout and a trader in the same pit. Rap and be a singers get tossed in two. So with all the Indians that aren't native Hindu, I rep Hannibal, not the cracker like Manson. The first black prez is a Morgo Asker. All these so-called players up in the rap game got brothers on the corner still with cook cocaine. All these so-called players up in the rap game got youth man trying to beat them losing his brain. All these so-called players up in the rap game got sisters warring and daughters doing the same. All these so-called players up in the rap game. All these so-called players up in the rap game. But I won't trip. Since Iron Sheik, I'm asking to see a slave ship. Show me a slave ship bolt or a slave ship sail, a slave ship plank or a slave ship nail. I can show you. They would have drowned in piss from 4 months of urination in the big bottom ships. Sleeping on my hair, my neck is crooked for weeks, but chained for months. Slave jump up and hit the fields. All the black Indians got turned to Negro slaves, black and colored with Euro names on their graves. During Columbus expeditions, Moors got shipped to Europe and returned to be burned and whipped, branded, under and overhanded. Andrew Jackson tried to kill us when the Seminoles banded. Haitian Moors used Yoruba, formed an alliance and gained serpentine fire through American science. All these so-called players up in the rap game got brothers cook cocaine. All these so-called players up in the rap game got youth man trying to beat them losing his brain. All these so-called players up in the rap game got sisters warring and daughters doing the same. All these so-called players up in the rap game. All these so-called players up in the rap game. Islam, Moors, peace and love. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. Our Tuesday, our regular Tuesday, we want to send a shout to all the Moors, wherever they're at, to you. Juali, because he resurrected Islam in America so that we can have something, since we always claim we had nothing. He brought back our nationality, religion, title to our vast estate. People still more dissing. People still more hating. All the movies come out, Wakanda come out, put Fez in there, they don't want to hear nothing. Doctor Who have Fez on, they don't want to hear nothing. They don't want to hear what's going on. So forget all the stuff that you, me, whoever else wasn't there when they did that. Forget all that stuff. Whatever we ever showed, showing somebody else acknowledging something relative to Moors. How about we deal with Moors? How about we follow the rules like we've been telling people, right? That if you want to know about Moors, ask Moors. Don't be asking Negroes, blacks, coloreds, Africans, conscious people, futuristic, whatever people. Don't ask none of them about Moors. You want to know about Moors, ask Moors. And if you ask Moors, make sure that you ask uplifting, fallen humanity Moors. Don't ask the paperwork Moors. Don't ask the card Moors. Don't ask the right to travel Moors. Don't ask the steal a house Moors. Don't ask the steal a land Moors. Nobody. Ask the uplifting, fallen humanity Moors. Ask the Moors who Noble Drew Ali told you that this is a Rotarian complexion. Ask the Moors who are exercising this from a Rotarian perspective what it means to be Moors. Especially all you new people who think you could learn something just listening to whoever out there that has a fez on. That's not what's up. So today, we're gonna go through some images from a recent, we will say, meeting. A recent meeting that happened with some Moors who we know, but they'll put themselves on the record. And it's supposed to show you where the energy is going. But remember, wherever the energy is going, the energy even has to know where it came from to know where it's going. So we want you to pay attention. If you claim you're a Moor and you know about your nationality and birthrights and you're doing things relative to what Noble Drew Ali said Moors should be doing, make sure you pay attention, because if we use these Moors as an example of what should be doing, many Moors aren't really there yet. Right? Islam more.
Islam.
I'm gonna I don't know if you're probably gonna get some feedback or whatever, so I'm gonna be muting you while you're talking. But
Islam.
just to introduce again, you know, just go through the little stuff, put your stuff on the record.
Islam. Islam. We rise in perfect praise to Allah. Give honor to His Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Give honor to all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius. Give honor to Marcus Garvey, Nat Turner. Give honor to all past and present leaders of the Moorish Science of America, and all those who move in the spirit of love, truth, freedom, and justice. Give honor to Brother Cujo and everyone that hears the sound of my voice. Islam.
Islam.
Islam. Brother King Gale. Yeah, so I guess about the what do you want to talk about, brother? Get into the program.
All right, so the first picture I have up is a mother in the middle. You're on her right, and she's wearing peace symbols on her wear.
Well, I don't see which picture you got up there, because I don't have the pictures up.
Yeah, the one that I have up right now. There's 5 people in the picture, a brother and sister in the back, 3 people in the front, and one of the people is a mother wearing a tie-dye blue and yellow top.
The ones with Khalila Camacho Ali.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It looks like there's this was at the radio station WODU.
Yeah, that one. Okay, that all right. So that's the one we did an interview at the radio station, and the interview that's Khalila Camacho Ali. That's Muhammad Ali's second wife. But she was doing an interview at the she was doing an interview on the radio, and I was invited out to meet her, and went out there and met her, and she asked me to actually speak, give some closing remarks on the radio interview with her. So I had the honor to actually join her on the interview. And we just speaking about just uplifting Father Manny. She was just in town. She was promoting a few events. She has a radio show that she's going to be launching next year. And one of her hosts, he actually is based out of Richmond. So she's going to be to and from Virginia. And after meeting her, I invited her to come to a Men of Distinction, the mentoring program. I know we talked about that plenty of times, but that's help us out with the children. And she was willing to, so she can went with us up to the school and spoke with the children. And it was very, very inspiring just to be around her and listen and learn from her. Just through the experience, I learned that she was actually the bodyguard for Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. And she used to train with Bruce Lee.
All right, hold on a second. Hold on a second. All right. So, just for the record again, we are looking at the second wife of our good brother, Muhammad Ali, who, if you don't know the story, remember that part of his credibility was him standing up for his right not to go to war. And the reason why he was able to not go to war is because the Nation of Islam, who he was a member of that organization at the time, knew about nationality and birthrights. So when you hear people are Nation of Islam and they're saying that they're 1X, 5X, 15X, 2500X and all that stuff, how come they never got their holy name yet? Now, how come Muhammad Ali got his holy name? Ali.
And let me give you the story. Let me don't cut you because I got to share something on
Islam.
that.
Go ahead, Mark.
When she first met Cassius Clay, she said she came to him and be the world champion, and he signed his name, Cassius Clay, and she ripped it up and threw it away. And she told him that that's a Roman name, and she asked him that he knows what the Romans did to us. And she told him that when he comes back with a name that means something, with an Islamic name, then he's going to be the world champion. And then he came back Muhammad Ali. And she actually was very, very, and actually when I asked her at the radio show, that's what I wanted to share with her. When I was at the radio station, when I first met her, I asked her, I was like, Mom, because, she asked us to call her Mama Ali. So I asked her, like, Mama Ali, what you know about Noble Drew Ali? She said, oh, I know all about him. And one for him wouldn't be, the Nation of Islam. I need one of them pens, so when I wear my turban, I can put my pen right there in the center. And I was like, Islam. So I took the pen off my jacket and gave it to her. It was like, here you go, we're going to get you a turban. And that's when we left and went to the radio station. I'm sorry, left the radio station and went to the school. And at the school, that's when she began sharing those stories about her being the bodyguard for Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. And she said people always wonder why they always have this little girl in the room with them, not knowing that she was actually their bodyguard. She's actually training with Bruce Lee. She said she never told Muhammad that she didn't want to fight him. But she actually is a world-class black belt. And and she also wrote all his poems as well. A lot of them.
Before you continue again,
yeah,
just to again, put some things out there with regard to reference points for our people, right? Now we're talking about Muhammad Ali, and we're talking about his foundation. That his foundation came from mother.
Islam.
Right? Like, no, hands down.
No
right?
question.
Hands down. Okay. Not only that. Now remember we're talking about Muhammad Ali, right? Heavyweight champion, all that stuff.
Right.
And his wife is saying that, oh yeah, everything about Noble Drew Ali. Matter of fact, I need one of those buttons for my turban.
Islam.
You think she doesn't know that she's a Moor?
No question.
Even if she might not walk around and say it out of her mouth that I'm a Moor and all that stuff. You tell me based on the conversation that she had, with a Moor who we know, who again, we're going on the line of these are active Moors.
Islam, no question.
Right? So if these are active Moors and they're engaging with certain people who are, we'll say, quote unquote, well-known, prominent, or whatever, right? How come they're moving with this brother or these brothers and sisters that call themselves Moors, Moorish Americans? They wear fezzes, they got turbans and pins that she wants and all that stuff. How come she's not bringing up no sovereign citizen stuff? How come she's an Asiatic? If you don't have a conversation with her, you think that she's the black lady out there. Okay, so the black lady out there, she knows about Noble Drew Ali, she knows about turban, she knows about pin. If she knows about Noble Drew Ali, she knows that we're Moors. So she's obviously been studied in this subject, because she's not going to know about Noble Drew Ali and not know about Stanley Lane Poole and all that other stuff. She's not going to know about Noble Drew Ali, not know about J.A. Rogers, and not know about From Superman to Man, and she's going to have to know about these things. Right? The frequency of Rotarian complexion that Noble Drew Ali talked about has a lower self and a higher self.
The
lower self of uplifting fallen humanity is when you're focusing that energy on self. When you're directing that energy of uplifting fallen humanity only to Moors and only Moors is whatever, then thanks, but that's not really where we're supposed to be going with this.
Islam. And if I may, just to camel back on that, that's really what it's about. I mean, the prophet told us that I gave you enough information to save the nation, I take you to save yourself. And the lesson say to know thyself. And when you understand, when you understand the higher self and the lower self, and apply the lessons and be the lessons. So in order for man to know, he must be what he knows. So if we really know more science, and this ain't about trying to be a sovereign citizen or claiming none of that nonsense. We are to obey the laws of the said government. We're not out here to cause confusion. But buck the system. We supposed to be out here for the young and the yet born. This movement is for the children. You know, it's really about teaching love, truth, freedom, and justice, living accordingly. We teach nationality and divine creed. Those are two things that our people need to understand. Develop our character, recognize who we are, and being that, and just live accordingly. So I just want to camel back on that, because that's really what the movement is about. And all this, like right now, we receiving these awards and stuff from the city. I'm gonna receive the Humanitarian Award from the city of Virginia Beach, and a Volunteer of the Year award from the school, W.F. Williams Elementary School.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Let me throw this next picture in there. The other picture is the picture with Muhammad Ali and the mother, signed, autographed, etc. to yourself. Did she talk about this picture at all?
Not much, man. I mean, she did, but I can't remember anything particular about that one. It was just, she didn't really say nothing. I mean, I don't know. It was just, she just signed it for real. She signed it. She signed a bunch of them. She told me, she signed it in her Arabic as well, and she told us, she kept emphasizing everybody. They don't sell. They sell them either $5,000. But I ain't selling mine, man. It's gonna keep it.
Right.
But
because what I'm doing, I'm just going through the pictures and all the pictures that you sent me. I'm just skipping through those. So as we go through it, I'm just gonna. I think this was probably another one. There's you, and then there's a brother, Pierre Burton.
Yeah, that was at the school. That was after the minister. After she spoke with the children, we went to the office, and we were just sitting down waiting, and we were just talking. And actually, I gave her my bracelet. She really liked that bracelet, so I didn't want to, she asked for it, I gave it to her, and she looked at it and like, took a picture with it, and in fact, her artist for her children's book. She has a children's book that she published, and we'll be receiving those and disseminating those in the very near future. I'll certainly send some over to you as well. But,
is there a link for the children's book so people can get it online or whatever?
I don't have that yet. She's
right.
Supposed to be calling either tonight or tomorrow.
No worries.
Give me the details. But her artist, what I was going to say is her artist who actually drew for her book, he actually attended Betty F. Williams Elementary School. So it was somewhat like a homecoming for him, to where, he was in time with her and he got opportunity to go back to the elementary school he attended. And, what is the likelihood of that? That, it shows in no strange happens, law governs all of that, because her artist attended that school that she brought him back to when she was in town.
No. If you could talk on this, like from Grand Sheik perspective, supporter of Noble Drew Ali perspective, things like that happen. Those quote unquote instances that happen. You're making, reference to that actually being something divine. Could you go into how you come to that perspective and some of the reference points that you use for your divine ideals?
Islam. But keep it simple, just the Quran, primarily the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Symbol of America, the one-on-one questionnaire, divine constitution and bylaws, Moorish literature. Those are some of the primary tools. And I would say, like, from the divine side, it was just, cause like it wasn't planned out. Like, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't there on time for music. They called me and told me to come here, and I just showed up. And I think you just gotta live a life accordingly. Is the best way I can put it like that. I mean, if you just simply live accordingly, Allah, in the Quran, it teaches us that the universal Allah is wisdom, will, and love. So when you understand that it's wisdom, will, and love. When you move accordingly and allow that to be your guide and your protector, and you use that in your understanding and your, in your actions throughout your life, you just manifest whatever you want. When you understand that Allah and man are one, when you understand there's no God outside of you, there's no devil outside of you, and you just own your life and operate, live within the bounds of righteousness. And, like with the whole experience with Khalifa, with Mama Ali coming, the reality of it is she attended our Holy Day meeting period. She enact something that we regularly do because we have to do it as Muslims. And we were actually in the chapter of sincerity, that creation. With every creation, we as a temple, we stay in this particular chapter. And while we're in the chapter of sincerity, we've come to realize that we actually live these experiences because it's all deep. Like the Quran is so important because those are the instructions. That's what they say. These are the divine instructions. So in this Moorish divine and national movement, it's important for you to utilize those divine instructions, for yourself. And then if you just move in it and live it in it, all is well. Imitate the prophet, and keep the prophet out front. Understand that like we're willing to sacrifice. That's something that I have to really come to terms with and accept as well for me to really embrace the duties. I'm a willing sacrifice. It ain't about me. It ain't about me. It's all for the young and the unborn. And
like how do you cross that threshold into that it's not about you? Because a lot of people have the mindset that they're Moors, so because they're Moors, it's about them. It's about them getting recognized, them getting something, them getting behind the wheel and doing whatever, them saying, here's the paperwork and it working. Like, how do you get to that side of knowing that, okay, there's something different? You know what I mean? Like it has to be about everybody.
As well. I would tell them to go use chapter 5 and chapter 23 in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science of North America. If you're claiming to be a Moor and you honor Noble Drew Ali and you rock with Moors, then you should be using those instructions. And that's really the best way for you to get it. Because those two chapters, like chapter 5 talks about how to build up your character. Because if you have this idea that it's all about you, like in a sense, you're right. You do got to save yourself. Like you get that. However, but it's when no man lives unto himself. We're all connected by cord. And what I want for myself, I want for my brother. What I want for my brother, I want for myself. Like you just gotta be benevolent. I mean, you got to get on that 12-step ladder. That's where chapter 23 comes in. You got to get in those. You got to direct your course to the virtues and align your life with just having some good morals. Because it's just, this. You got to be pure in heart. You got to just follow an ethical thing. If you, I don't know, bro. Kind of like I think it's just a common sense thing for real. Like, I think people get the idea when you get too much. If you become a slave to someone's portion of understanding. If you become a slave to what someone else thinks, if you get too caught up in watching videos and believing everything that everybody else has to say, then you don't know. You just believe.
Right.
You really got to take your time and really study yourself. Understand your higher self and your lower self. Understand the good things and the bad things about you, and use the things that Noble Drew Ali left. Read his literature, read the tools, read the things, and see what it is. Get to a more science of America, and make it a priority to go deep, listen and learn. Humble yourself. That's one thing that I had to do as well. When I first came into the knowledge, when I first learned, I came from, I was in my mind a successful black man, and I thought I was knowledgeable, intelligent, and all these things, and I had to really humble myself and recognize that I was really ignorant in a lot of areas, and I just had to be wise and learn. And that's something that a lot of people got to do. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali said it take you 50 years to figure out what he brought. So this ain't something that's going to happen to you overnight. And he also teaches on, you know, so it's just, I think that's really the simple answer is get behind the prophet. You know?
Right.
That's the simple answer. Get behind the prophet number 5. Like, he already did it, man. Like, yo, all you gotta do is study what he did, do it, and go out there and be the message that you bring. You know, if you were more, then you're supposed to be, you're supposed to have an awesome life. Like, if you're more and you got a bunch of problems and all these negative things are happening to you, then you're not living accordingly. Because we on the higher planes of life. You know, like, we have good problems. You know, it's funny, we were actually just talking the other day amongst a few of the members, and we had an issue because one of the members crushed a spider during the meeting period. And we had to address it. Because, you know, when you crush the meanest word, you know what I mean? You're not supposed to, you shake the throne of Allah. So when they did it, everybody looked at him. He's like, yeah, I shook the throne. You know, all is well. I'm still standing. My bad. I didn't even think about it. I should have picked him up, took him outside, and laid him outside. So it's like the fact that is a problem that we have to address. You know, that's what more is supposed to be focusing on. You know what I mean? And that's just just applying what the prophet talked about, just simple stuff. Doing right by life, man. We're here to bring life and cultivate life and teach love. So that's my thoughts, man.
No, people might say, maybe even more might say, the Quran, that's it. Like, they got so much books on the Moors out there. Like, how can we just keep going back to Quran? Are you like a religious holy book more or something like that? Or like, how come you keep using the Quran?
Yeah, the reason why is that's the foundation. And then all the other books are great. I have a great library of Moorish literature and Moorish books authored by many Moorish scholars all around the country, all around the world, and certainly encourage that. However, it's very, very important that you understand what Noble Drew Ali published. You know, you want to get that. You know, so that's the primary reference point. And yes, I am a religious Moor. You know, I'm a temple Moor, whatever they want to call it. I don't worry about none of that, man. I'm a Moorish American Muslim. True American citizen. I'm about to say, we L's and days, that's our titles of nobility. And our free national name is Moorish American. We Muslims. So, you know, people gonna say what they say, man, and I love them all, man. It's okay. You know, it's like, tell me what you want. Yeah, your brother, man.
No,
I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. You know about it. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna assist you however I can. I'm gonna help you. I'm not gonna bring harm to you. This is we Moors. Let's work together, man. Ain't no time. We ain't got time to be debating with each other and
for real.
You know, and get caught up in he say and people just opinion, man. Just opinion is no proof of truth. The generality of men is ignorant.
The next picture I think was at the book signing or the picture signing. I mean, she's wearing like.
That's the holiday meeting.
Oh, that's at the holiday meeting. Okay, where was that? Where was that meeting at?
That was in Norfolk in Conscious Planet. And shout out to my sister Vanessa L over there. If y'all ever in Norfolk, go to Conscious Planet, great spot over there. We have our holiday meetings out there, and we invited mom. I was after I met her on Thursday. She gave me a number, told me to call her every day, so I did what she told me to do. And I called her the next day and invited her out to the meeting period. And she said she's going to come out. So she showed up and, came up to the meeting and blessed her. She demonstrated from chapter 34 of the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science and Love of America, which is the chapter on sincerity. And that's really what she spoke on, sincerity and in general, there's meeting period. It's a great meeting period. And after the meeting period, because the meeting was packed, we never had that many people come to a meeting. many of them didn't even know they were in the Morris Science and American Music Fair. They thought they were just coming to see Mama Ali. But it's cool. We do it every week. And, you know, she showed up. So we encourage everybody else to come too. And after the team had the honor of, actually during the meeting, we had the honor of, you know, got the rapper turban and put a pin on it like she wanted. And she was blessed with a lot of gifts from the members and, you know, just some visitors. Everybody was just all love, man. And then she signed a bunch of autographs, took pictures, and it was just a great meeting, man. Great holiday meeting, man. It really confirms, you know, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the best of planet. All praises be to Allah, honor to the Prophet Nabi Ali. You know, it's definitely a collection of this, everybody doing, you know, everybody promoting the same common good, man. Everybody just want to help and want to do right by each other.
Now
doing right. I mean, doing right by each other.
For people who look at who's involved in this perspective, right? What should this mean to people viewing that Mama Ali pretty much is in support 100% in the movement? Like, what have as far as for Morris?
Yeah, I mean, I would say if at this point, it's kind of like, I mean, it has been for years when you use your common sense. However, if you respect her and honor her, and you know, and everything that she's been affiliated with, even down to Muhammad Ali, she's the one that told him he better get out her face and you'll get a Islamic name. And you know, then pay attention. You know, pay attention, man. There's a reason why she came to the Morris Science Temple of America. And if you haven't been there, I would encourage you to go. Oh, and open your heart up, open your mind up, to, you know, learn something new, man, and really get a clear understanding around the sincerity and the seriousness of it. Like, it's clearly real. You know, it's a lot. It's the time. A lot of people are just ready to get that truthful education, and so, you know, it really what it did for me. It gave me a lot of confidence and reassurance, bro, that if we just keep the profit off front, keep doing the work, man, and you know, you're gonna get what you need, man. Everything you're gonna, all is well. So I would say that for those watching, you know, don't watch, assist, jump in here, come on, man. It's plenty of work for everybody. You know, plenty of work for everybody. Wherever you are in your local community, you can do something uplift. You can go and help somebody today. You can volunteer at your local school. You know, you could in your library. You can clean up in your community. Do something just to help.
Let's go right there. Since you know, the spirit's moving right now. Speak about men of distinction and, you know, the obligation that you took on, and the other Moors, Islam to all the other Moors there as well, that's assisting in the uplifting acts. The going to the schools idea, you know, how was your approach? You know, were you renegade Moors when you went to the board and got this, you know, opportunity? Did they come to you? How should Moors approach, you know, getting the word out, or, if you will, uplifting fallen humanity in an intelligent tone, being that we're dealing with people like school board, police, etc., etc.?
I would say with that, first, the prophet, he said to some of, you know, saying some of the best Moors still in the church. And the Men of Distinction program actually started out of the church. And when it started years ago, I was actually a member of the church. I had joined the church and learned about the program they were doing, and I just wanted to get involved. So I volunteered with them. And at the time, I wasn't a proclaimed Moorish American, you know, or more. or any of those things. I was just, African American black man, Christian man, and joined the church, wanted to help. It was a need in the community just to help the children. So I just started helping them. My actual personal story is that my biological father committed suicide when I was 10. So I think that's one of the reasons why I've always had that desire to work with those children at that age, because I know that experience of what it could be like growing up, not having that father in your life. So knowing that and having those experiences is my duty to give back and help them out. I have my own children, and I'm able to raise mine and be in their life every day. However, their peers, I'm not around, and if their peers aren't getting in as influence, then it's going to be a tougher battle for my children. So I can go out here and work with their peers, build their peers up, while I'm building them up at home. By the time they all connected me together, they all good, ready to go. So that was kind of what led me to volunteering and getting involved, and that's what I did. And as I began to grow and unfold and learn about nationality and learn about Noble Drew Ali, what he was teaching and talking about, I decided to leave the church. I proclaimed my nationality. However, I was still volunteering with the children. So I just kept doing the program, and the brother from the church who was actually running the program, he decided he was going to pursue other endeavors, and he left the program to me. Called me one day and told me he's leaving the country and the program is mine, do what I want with it. But he got to go. And I had a program, and I just kept doing the program, and it kept showing up. I mean, it's like, it's not real, it's not rocket science, it's more science. You just do the right thing. We just showed up to volunteer 2 hours, help the children out, and once you begin to establish those relationships with them, you see how inspirational and how influential they are, how much you can learn from them. The children teach me a lot. I'm a student, and the pure in heart, they some of the best teachers. So I would say just giving back for real, and that's very fulfilling. And then in seeing that, experiencing that, I think that is what keeps us going, man. And then, mind you, it all aligns with the mission of the Moorish Science of America. On top of that, so when I began to learn about Moorish science, I was like, yeah, this is what we're supposed to be doing. So that just kind of added fuel to the fire just to keep going. And it's to the point now to where the program is essentially, there's a whole lot of active Moors, faithful Moorish Americans who are, members of the temple, and they help them facilitate the program. So it's still, and at this point, it's not connected to the church. The program itself is simply an unincorporated group of a community sponsor group. And there's just a lot of community sponsors who sponsor the program, different organizations, and send volunteers out. Some of those do include the police, the sheriff's department, fire department, the mayor, Mama Ali, different guests. People show up, they come to help us out with the children. And this area, heavy Asiatic populated area, I don't live in that community. Most of us don't. That's the most impoverished area in the city. And that school was a one student, so that's why we.
Hold on a second. Hold on one second, because you said that you started up this program, more started getting involved with the program, and then now you said that you had Mama Ali and named some people, and then you named sheriff department and you named police. Now, how come they're not saying you're sovereign citizens?
They know we more. they know we're more experience. They know there's a difference. I've had conversations with a lot of people. I had a conversation, in court one time with a judge, and the judge actually said, there are legitimate and illegitimate. He said, we know there are legitimate and illegitimate branches of you guys' organization. He said, those illegitimate branches, they're making it really hard for y'all. He's like, I'm not comparing y'all to a gang, but we call them like wannabes. They will be kind of like say their blood and they'll wear red shoes, but they're not really blood. They're just wannabes. Hold on. He said, and I'm quoting the judge here. He said, if you guys, and you look to the back, you saw the angels that were on post in the back, also known as Muftis, but angels, but he saw them in the back and was like, but you guys look a little different. And you know, y'all are different. And they end up dismissing all the charges. However, the point is that all you got to do is if you really live moving accordingly, man, they know the difference, man. You don't got to be all loud with it. You don't got to send a bunch of writs in. Man, when I went to court, I read from my Koran. I read, according to all true and divine records, there's a Negro, black, or color race attached to the human family. Therefore, according to my religion, it's against my religion to call me Negro, black, or color. So if this piece of paper has got me written down as a black person, and this writ is violating my religion, there's no way that this thing is valid. It's against my religion. And according to my religious text, it says it right here. And Prophet told me to obey all laws unless they go against my religion. So, yeah, I'm a religious man. Congress can't make no law against the free enjoyment and exercise of religion. So, hey, you better learn your religion. What is our religion? Islamism. So no. I would say that, man. Yeah. That's why they know we ain't solving solutions, but that's why we can work with everybody. Because they know we demonstrate Islamism. When we talk with the police, when I won this humanitarian award, we had an award. They had the private award ceremony, and afterwards, one of the people that came up and introduced himself was the supervisor for the field agents for the FBI. He was out of Norfolk, but he was in Virginia Beach for this ceremony and came up and introduced himself. And I was just saying, hey, man, you look like the guy from Law and Order. He really did, too. But he was an FBI agent, man. First time, well, actually, not my first time. Second time seeing one of them approach me. And, gave me his business card. Hey, man, why don't you come by sometimes, man, and love what you're doing with the children, and that and third. Whatever, But it's cool. And, I ain't concerned about anything. Like, who shall suspicion and Friday accept the guilty? Like,
real talk.
He works for an agency. Like a lot of these agencies. That's their job. They're at work together. So when they're at work, they got different jobs. If you understand what their job was, they're public servants. Their duty is to protect the public interest and public safety, which should be yours as well. If you're a Moor.
Right. No, okay,
you be looking for humanity. Y'all should be at variance with each other, with your interests, unless someone ain't an important of righteousness. And that's handled another way. And justice must take its course. We ain't living by love, truth, peace, and freedom.
Now, when you're because we know that there's many different avenues where Moors can be quote unquote active, right? From engaging you Moors personally, there's many realms that you get into, right? Does the recognition that they're giving you say anything to the type of work that you Moors choose to focus on, or is it just what you do and they just happen to recognize it?
Yeah, it's kind of what we do for it, and they recognize it. Because like we bid on recognition goals. We bid on 2 RFPs, which are or 3 of them. RFPs, which are requests for proposals, and we put a bid into the city requesting some funding for 3 bids, and we didn't receive any. We didn't receive any funding on any of them. We did get the opportunity to present a best and final offer to the city when we went in and sat down, and we gave them a formal presentation for our offer. And I think we were asking for like $90,000, and we didn't get the funding. However, we told them on that day that we're going to do this no matter what. We appreciate your, sitting down with us. We'd appreciate the funding. However, we're going to do it. And we did the work, of course, because that's what we're supposed to do. And then literally 1 year later from the date that we had that meeting, that's the date that I'm receiving this humanitarian award from the state.
Wow.
So what it does is it confirms is like, the recognition is bittersweet, You know, it's like, I appreciate it. However, you know, we're supposed to do this, and y'all should be very, very supportive of this work, because uplifting for all of humanity is something that needs to happen. And the Humanitarian Award for the Human Rights Commission just confirms that that's what we're doing, and the process is right. You know, all this award and recognition is doing is bringing attention to the Prophet Noble Ali and what he laid for us and what he established for us. And it just confirms that if you actually apply it collectively as a body politic and corporate, you know, and if you apply it on a spiritual level and use the lessons, then hey, you'll be recognized.
But how can you say that when the award went to your name? That's your individual recognition. Like, how does that apply to everybody?
The reason why is because it's not about me. I'm a willing sacrifice. I'm moving at the will of the people. I represent the people, man. I got members, man. I got to serve, man. I got the public. I got children. You know what I mean? I got a wife. You know what I mean? I got people I got to talk to and make sure they're good. So that's, I mean, I do appreciate. I accept it, and I do recognize that yes, it took me. It required my discipline, you know, and my consistency. And there's some things I do have some good attributes. However, you know, I look at it as this. I really, like, we're all equals. I really reflect on one of Confucius' quotes. You know, he said that if you meet a person better than yourself, turn your thoughts and become his equal. And if you meet a person not as good as yourself, look within and examine your own self. And what I really liked about that quote is it forced you to always stay focused on self-development. So it's like, yeah, it gave me an award and all, it's cool. However, I still got a lot of things I'm working on. You know what I mean? I still got a lot of things I still got to stay focused on. I can't get too high on this and feel like, oh, okay, I'm at the pinnacle of wisdom. When actuality, hey, I'm still here in the flesh, which means I still got work to do before I'm perfected. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm still in this body, so I still got some things that I need to get done. So I'm gonna keep going. And don't get too caught up in the cares of the world.
So would you look at things like that, like acknowledgement of things like Mars, you know, go to court, stuff gets dismissed and whatever, you know, get stopped by a highwayman, don't give a license and they get to go. Mm-hmm. Are those things also looked at as cares of the world, and how do you balance with your birthright and then the cares of the world?
I would say that, I mean, as far as those pebbles of the world, the things they bring up that are like it's cool that, you know, you can do those things, but it's just not really about that. I mean, the birthright aspect, that's no question. That's why we're able to do what we're able, you know, to do what we're doing. You know, as Muslims, that's our birthright, you know, to live it. So, you know, I look at a lot of that stuff because I understand those things. I used to be concerned with that stuff. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm not trying to like dismiss it completely. I understand, you know, especially when you're going through those foes. You gotta learn those things. You gotta conquer those. You gotta learn how to speak in a courtroom. You know, if you've been accused of violating a code, you know, or a law or whatever, you know. So I just look at it like that's just it comes with growth and development, and as you unfold, you get there. But I don't think one thing that I learned is, you know, as you're learning, just learn it, man, and don't celebrate. Don't get too high and don't celebrate too much on, you know, on doing the right thing. Like if you beat a court case because you weren't guilty, then good job. You did the right thing. Like you ain't do it. You know what I mean? You know what's like? Well, okay, good job. You know, keep going, keep growing, keep growing. So that's kind of how I look at all that stuff, man. As far as the balance goes, like I said, it, you know.
Somebody in the chat asked, Does their awards mean anything if it wasn't given from us?
With that, what was the question?
Or the question was, does their award mean anything if us?
Does their award mean anything if it wasn't given from us? It means whatever they think it means. It means what it is. It means that the city of Virginia Beach, or this city, this municipality where a lot of people live, that they recognize humanitarian efforts and humanitarian work. So, I mean, I think, some people like it, love it. Like I said, that's kind of a general, like a little vague question. Like, does it mean anything? And yeah, it means what it means, And whoever it comes from, it don't matter because it ain't about the award. It's just like I said, man. I don't do the work for the award. So like I accept it, I appreciate it. It's just it is what it is.
Now, what as far as the different individuals that over the past, year, let's say, in the humanitarian work that you're doing, what are some of the responses that you're getting from people who are, in whatever professional field or, municipal government or whatever? Like, how are they approaching you more as with regard to doing this humanitarian work, minus the award or whatever, in the sense of interaction with them or communication?
They're very very welcoming. They want to. They're very. Many of them actually, a few of them actually wrote letters to the Human Rights Commission. They actually recommended me. I was referred to this award by a European man. He's the one who, on the Human Rights Commission, who nominated me. And a lot of the Europeans supported. I mean, they help it. Not just them, but just overall. So a lot of people in the government official, a lot of people are just supportive. Just the work, not even the award. The award just makes them pay attention to me now. Now they want to talk, and now they're willing to hear what we've been saying. So, that's all it is.
There was something else I was gonna ask too. I friggin' forgot. With regard to the program, the children, what type of influence are you having on the children? What are you noticing as far as, is there any difference between, how they are prior to the program and now, and how are parents receiving the program?
Absolutely. Yeah, good question, man. Yeah, the children they're definitely growing and developing. One thing that we've seen is just with some of the assignments that we have the children do, they've all written books. We're working on getting their books published. Last year, they all did business plans. And that's one of the things that they were able to present. Even when Mama Ali was there, she was able to listen to a few of them present their business plans they developed. And a few of them are actually currently working and applying their business plans. Their parents are very supportive of the program. We make it a point to connect with them outside of schools. Make sure we try to come out, show up to their basketball games and extracurricular activities they do in the community. So it's very effective in building that relationship and that rapport, so we can be there for the children. We understand mass incarceration and how it's affecting our brothers. So, and we understand it starts at the elementary level. So one of the best things that we could do outside of obviously the private schools and getting our children out of there, we got millions of Asiatics who are attending. So we need to go in there and be there for them. And this is one strategy to connect. So, and the parents, like I said, they're embracing this. Everybody is just working together for real.
Now,
So we didn't get response from that.
now if Moors are interested in doing things like this where they are, could you give some don'ts that Moors should consider when wanting to, go and do quote unquote humanitarian work? Like, what shouldn't the main things that Moors shouldn't be doing?
Oh man, don't cause confusion. First thing, don't cause confusion, and don't be a block of wood. Don't tell people to do something you haven't done. So lead by example, and ensure that in leadership and everything you're doing, never ask somebody to do something that you haven't done or won't do yourself or aren't currently doing. That way you can hold everybody to the same expectations, and then hold yourself accountable for everybody else. So don't have a bunch of excuses, and don't stop. Don't stop. That was another don't. Don't stop. If you're doing it for the right reasons, keep doing it, and don't stop. And don't. I guess that's a few don'ts.
All right, and
I think it'll probably go a little more, but I don't know. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's the major ones, and the do's. What are things that more should consider? Maybe more than they might have, because
I can't hear you, brother. You talk?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was on mute.
Yeah.
And so we could talk about the do's now. What should Moors do, and what approach should they take with regard to, let's say they want to have a study group, they want to go get some space at a library or whatever, or community center, or let's say they're more advanced and they want to approach schools to do programs like what you're doing.
I would say the do's would be is the first do is just to be yourself and actually plan and work with the team, moving 3, 5, to 7. And also, if you're going to be doing anything in the public, connect with the Moors, man. Like, for really, we'll connect with Moors and just do it in the spirit of love, and don't make it about your personal agenda. Like, if it's like court dealing, like, keep all that stuff out of it. Keep politics out of it when you're working with the children. Keep it focused on social and economic development of the children, and focus on them. Work with us, work with men of distinction and conversation with my sister. We certainly will share the blueprint with anyone that's willing to implement it. And we obviously have a success with the program. So, use that, use universal tools and keep it universal. Remember that, it's not the public school's duty to teach nationality and divine creed to our children. That's not their job. That's our responsibility. We're supposed to be doing that. And that's us being at the Moorish Science Center of America. We're the ones with the legal and lawful authority to do so. So that's, I would say, if you're more, just keep it, stay professional and look your best. Always look your best. As long as you stay, be professional and just be committed. Pick a school, pick a community, pick wherever, and just do it. Don't talk about it.
This is a good one. This is a good one. So what are the Moors looking at the picture with you at the sign, the Betty Williams Elementary sign, the Volunteer of the Year sign?
Yeah.
And they're asking, let's just say somebody who's not in the know sees this picture. Would they think that you're a Mason because your hand's inside of your jacket?
Man, that boy stop acting with me, man. I ain't no dog. It's cold outside, man. You know how windy it was that day? You saw my coat. It was blowing open. It was cold.
it was a breeze. So it was a breeze.
No, man, I'm not a Mason, man. I would say, a 50 word for 1,000 words, I understand people interpret and say whatever they want. However, that's why Moore should understand what the prophet brought. That's why he left the divine constitution and bylaws at 3. He said, no member is to put in danger or should falsely accuse his brother or sister in any way, or take them and harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love.
It's love.
So don't act the room you got more. Remember, it's society, and if you were studying the prophet, you would know he pulled the covers off for all of them anyway. So it don't matter if they work. But I'm not. Not a mix.
That was just a funny one. Boys were cracking up at. Boys were cracking up at that one.
That's just cold. Man. It's cold.
Any updates of anything going on, and how can people contact you if they need to contact you, and you got any stuff to plug, anything else to put out?
Yes, I do. Go to go to unitytemple14.org. You contact us there. We have the credit union surveys up there that we are still working on. We still need surveys done. If Moors are in support of the proposed Divine Federal Credit Union to service the Moorish Americans, please complete a survey. If you're not in support of the credit union, please complete a survey. You can actually do a survey. You can do a survey and put no on the survey if you're not in support of it. So we just ask that if you're supportive, do that. Go and you can contact us there. Social media, you can find our the Facebook page, Unity Temple 14. Really, we are the more locally in Virginia Beach, but we're all one. We're all connected. So any temple. And as far as particular upcoming event, that Human Rights Award is April 5th. That's going to be here in Virginia Beach on the Human Rights Commission. That is on Eventbrite. You can find that's going to be at the Virginia Beach Convention Center. And volunteers for the mentoring program this Thursday. The curriculum this year we're discussing healthy living. I am what I do. So we'll be talking with the children about healthy eating and healthy living and offering different, obviously things to support and promoting that. And we need volunteers for that. And also if more are interested in volunteering and running a program in your community, you can send an email to unitytemple14 at gmail.com. And just send an email stating that, you heard on the call or and you want to support, you want to implement. Because that's what we need. We need people that want to implement the program. So if you're a leader and if you desire to do the work and you want to work together, please hit me up, call me, let me know what I can do. So, and support the brother Cujo. That's also what I got to plug. Support the Mo. He's a good Mo. I appreciate it. I've been learning a lot from you for years, brother. You were one of the first Moors that really inspired me. Honest to RV Bay as well, and Taj, and honest to Kenny and Kerry, Corey, man. Everybody, all y'all Moors, man, everybody. Honest to all things Moors. All things Moors.
Islam. You got time for one more question?
I got time there, man.
All right.
I'm relaxing. So
all right, cool.
We keep going.
We go. All right, cool. Sister Alicia was asking about school and grants. She's finished her associates in psychology, which she used grants to get through that. So now she's moving to the bachelor's, but might need assistance with funding. Do you have any suggestions with regard to how nationality would or not affect her enrolling into university? Or
according to my portion of understanding, I don't think that should hinder or harm her enrolling into a university. If anything, I would just encourage her to be herself. You know, don't overcomplicate it. That's something else I want to make sure. Don't overcomplicate it and meet the objective. You know, don't. If you need to do what you got to do to meet your objective, you need to get in school. You know, don't go listen to a bunch of people tell you to do a bunch of other things, and then you somewhere stuck, can't go to school. So I would just tell her that because it's so dictate. You know, I mean, I went to school. I used financial aid. You know, so yeah, I would say just keep it simple.
When you spoke about don't overcomplicate things, how do Moors overcomplicate things, and how can Moors who overcomplicate things, you know, or what I call it is think too much.
Right.
How could Moors help remedy that issue that they might have?
Just do it. Just listen to that voice in your head that's going to tell you the right thing to do, and just do the right thing. Stop doubting yourself. Stop doubting stop doubting your intelligence. Stop doubting your higher self, your ability to do what's right, your ability to manifest. You know, the doubts of their own rise. So I would say that. And also and that's why the Quran is so important, because that is one simple source that you can use to really get a clear foundation to build upon. So especially if you're new to this, don't get too caught up in, you know, don't be all over the place trying to get a bunch of information, trying to regurgitate it. You know, make sure you actually read the books, because that's one thing too is, I would say you can tell the difference when you meet a Moorish American, whether or not they're a video watcher or a book reader, through their discussion. So make sure you be a book reader. But I would say, yeah, I think more we tend to, you know, we tend to overcomplicate things. Like you summarize it best and just thinking too much. Like, just keep it simple, man. Like, you whatever it is that you're faced with, like whatever your problem is, it's just a challenge. It's an opportunity for you to exercise your strength. You know, you got to give honor to that, you know, moments for you to think, use some intelligence, use some common sense, and try something, do something. You know, learn from it and keep it moving. Just don't make the same mistake multiple times.
Now, what could Moors learn from the lesson of Mama Ali on doing the right thing? Or what was, you know, what are some high points, you know, especially with regard to the children, you know, being around mother and you know.
I would say just understanding the power within you and how you can impact others just by simply doing the right thing. When she shared her stories, like I gotta go to her stories that she shared, because when she starts talking about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, she's like, "Oh, I was their bodyguard," and she starts sharing stories. And then she starts talking about Bruce Lee and sharing stories. And Muhammad, and it's like, as you're listening to her, and it's like, who would have thought that, like, I'm sure she didn't realize it at that time, that her as a little girl, just doing the right thing, was going to be so influential and inspirational to the world. And it was going to affect and impact so many people's lives. And, you know, to this day, she's still able to do the same thing. So, and just when you really, and just in meeting her and talking with her, she's like a real down-to-earth, good person. So it's like, it just, I would say that's the lesson for me was, you know, do the right thing, man. Like, you don't know who people are, man. Every moment, man. You know, I think about how she when she shared the story about her telling Cassius Clay, ripping up his signed autograph when he told her he was going to be the world champion. Her ripping that up and telling him pretty much go get a name that means something. And that's why he came back and pursued her and ended up marrying her after that. You know, but she inspired this man. And she She was 16 and he was 24 when they got married. But she inspired this man. You met him at 13 or something like that. And it's just like, wow. Listen to the women, man. We must have a deeper appreciation for womanhood. That was my primary takeaway from that whole encounter and experience with her. That's we really need to appreciate it. And then she also showed up to the mentoring, the MOD, on International Women's Day. And you know what better blessing could we receive on that day than to be,
wow,
you know, for her to be,
that's crazy.
Talk to us at International Women's Day.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, ain't no strange happening. You know, all of this. So it's just, and if y'all didn't know, that's a quote from the Quran. A lot of the things that Cujo knows, you know, he knows, a lot of things that I say is quote the Quran. And it helps. It really helps in understanding life, what's going on, what's happening to you, why, you know, why everything's going on and why we are in heaven on earth.
All right. Oh yeah. So you brought up having a greater respect for womanhood. What part do you see that women play in this whole model of uplifting fallen humanity and being humanitarian and everything else?
Islam. My portion of understanding is the woman, that's obviously the mother. And she's the one who made us in her image. And the first part of physical man was created in the Garden of Eden. And the first part of my physical existence was created in my mother's womb. Therefore, that's the Garden of Eden. So we must appreciate that, because that's our source of life. And, you know, without our women, we wouldn't be here. And the nation can't rise any higher than the women. So I think part of the issue is we do have too many men in leadership. Is many people think I'm the man and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, man, I'm just a brother, man. We waiting for the women to lead, man. Like, we need the Moabites out front, man. For real. You know, that's something else that I really took away from meeting with Mama Ali. Listen to her tell a poem. You can tell who wrote it. She wrote that poem. She wrote the Sunny Liston. Well, she wrote the poem that was for Sunny Liston. She wrote that poem on a brown paper bag right before he fought, just to remind him. And it's like, the women are so, like, you're so inspirational and influential, and we really appreciate y'all. We really do. And you know that this movement is dedicated, you know, a large majority of it is for the women. Like, uplifting fallen humanity. It's written on the woman's womb. If you look at the front cover of the 101, humanity is written on her womb. Like, that's where we all come from. So, and I feel like, yeah, our women are very, very, very important. And I think we collectively as a more society really need to reflect on how we're treating our women locally. You know, everybody focus on the women in your community, your house, your mother, your wife, mother, you know, whoever you're dealing with. Yeah, that's how I feel about it, man. I love y'all. I love you, man. I love my mom. I love you, mom. I'm on an international call today, mama.
With regard to the challenges, were there challenges when you were starting up doing your community work, we'll call it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I would, you know, the challenges are, the greatest challenge specifically in the community work is getting committed volunteers. You know, a lot of people will show up, you know, once or twice. They'll come, you know, a few times, speak to the children. However, when you're really trying to get people to commit, because we try to expand, that's been the biggest challenge, is expansion. You know, a lot of people, they talk about the program and, you know, it's good, they like it. They try to offer money, you know, and I'm like, hey, that's not really our primary need for this. You know, we do need finance, but that's more type of red. It's MOD. You know, in this realm, we need the volunteers, we need the people that come in and volunteer to work with them. So that's probably that was the biggest challenge in it. And now, as far as the movement is concerned, the greatest challenge that I would say that I felt was really just understanding everything in the beginning, because there's so much. You know, there's so many different sources, and you know, everybody's telling you you're supposed to do this, supposed to do that. But what I learned is nobody can teach you how to be yourself, man. You know, that's what the only prophet. That's what the prophet do. He teach you how to be yourself. That's how he did it. So we gotta do that. So I would say, yeah, those are the biggest challenges at first, and also was accepting it, because when I first came to the Summit, I had expression from more type of first Christianity with Islam, obviously, and instead of they just replaced everything, doing the same thing I was doing when I was in Christianity, until I actually read it and got into it myself. Then I realized that, man, this is a different demonstration, and it's not just graphical against the church or any member of any organized group. However, it's just, just really get into it. So that's where you conquer those challenges. Just take the time to study yourself, and eat better. Watch what you eat, watch what you're drinking, watch who you're hanging around, watch what you're listening to. Stop watching TV as much. Get off of Facebook. Get off your phones. Make the changes. Do better.
Now, is there anywhere in the teachings that you have come across that Noble Drew Ali wasn't dealing with law or wasn't dealing with constitutional enforcement? Because it appears like Moors are trying to make it seem like Noble Drew Ali had nothing to do with standing up for rights. Because they say things like, RV Bay teachings and Taj Tariq Bay teachings is getting people locked up or whatever.
No, man, not at all. I would say that Moors are doing that. That's actually violations, man. Stop slandering our Moorish leaders, man. Let's not do that. If you get locked up, it's because you made poor decisions, and a man should have found himself he could solve his problems best. So don't make decisions that end up you going to jail. It's that simple. It's not Taj's teachings or anybody's teachings that's doing that. It's your decision and your behavior that's leading to that. So I gotta address that. Also, what was the other thing you said too about Noble Drew Ali teaching not about law? Yeah, no, that's some not more started trying to say that religion is law is government. Some Moors may not understand that because the idea of religion immediately equates to Christianity, and that was an experience that I had, one of the challenges that I was faced with. However, when you really understand what the prophet is talking about, he's talking about government. Even if you read the chapter on religion in the Quran, we have one chapter that talks about that. And if you read chapter 35, it clearly talks about government. And if you look in the back of the one-on-ones, that's clearly an affidavit of organization. It's like we're talking about law, club, and we'll find out eventually. But the prophet, he told us this to happen. He said those that are with him today were with him 2,000 years ago. Those against him today was against him 2,000 years ago. So, just stay with the prophet. Don't idol worship the prophet. You ain't saying that, ain't saying you do. If it wasn't for that initial foundation being laid, I wouldn't have been able to move in the way that I'm moving today. So I give all praise to Allah, honestly, Prophet.
Islam. We should mention this too. You've been making reference to being Grand Sheik and Morris Science Temple and stuff like that. How is it that you're a member of Morris Science Temple, you're a Grand Sheik, and you can say Taj Tariq Bey and RV Bey publications with positive energy.
That's the truth. It's just the truth. You know, they're good boys. I learned a lot from RV Bey, from the website. Sure did. A lot of books. You know, I think it's really just really and truly supporting all things Morris, man. Understanding that everybody has a contribution. That's one thing I've learned. Everybody has something there that's the subject matter expert in, and they're the best at it. And what we have to do is learn to embrace that and just let them teach that subject matter. And we know when we need help in that subject matter, we go to them, and they do that. And when you really look at a lot of the Morris leaders, and there's a lot of names, a lot of people we can talk about and reference. However, he is like they're doing good, and I got to give honest is due. So I think the Morris Scientific American, not by any way, shape, or form, has any opposition to RV Bey or what they're doing. And I think you may have individuals with like personal standpoint, their personal views, but I would say as an organization and as a member of the organization, nah, man, we ain't got nothing against. Nah, we all one. Like they're Morris Americans. Like, come on, man, we all the Morris. We're all one. I think that's that Ethiopian demonstration that a lot of Morris try to get because they want to pick and choose which parts of the science they want to hold themselves accountable to.
Mm-hmm.
Want to be a more in court, but you want to do more for time of team period. You know, that's a type of hypocritical behavior. You know, you want to claim to be more because you want to drive without a driver's license. Well, if you use your common sense, you know, hey, that piece of plastic has nothing to do with the functionality of that machine. If you need a key, some oil, and gasoline, you can turn it on, go wherever you need to go. If you think a piece of plastic is determining where you go, then hey, you slave to finite things.
Well, that's a good segue into this question. Brother Ray L in the chat was asking, when you look at Moorish American, do you view it from the perspective of bloodline or organization, and which one and why?
It's both. It's obviously bloodline, no question. The divine origins of the Asiatic nation teaches us that. Chapter 45. Chapter 45 will go in what teaches that, and that really specifies who the bloodline is. Now, the reason why it's organization as well, and why that's really kind of equally as important, is because that's where you can learn it at. This is the organization that teaches you about your bloodline. It teaches you exactly how we are related, how we are the ancient Moabite. It really goes in detail. So it's like if you care about your bloodline, why won't you support the organization that teaches you about your bloodline?
Right.
Like it's kind of like, that's why I would say both, and they're equally as important, man. I don't pick one over the other and say I'm gonna be with my blood today, I'm gonna be organized tomorrow. Nah, I'm gonna be organized with my blood every day. You know, we're blood. Obviously, more we recognize our family. Now, some people are supportive of the organization, and some aren't. That don't mean we ain't blood. The organization taught me that. You know, the organization that a lot of our blood that is opposed to what we're doing to organize us, with a lot of things that they're saying, organization taught me to love them and work with them. And they just taught me that instead of Morris Scientific of America, I got to be Morris Divine National Movement. When I'm doing that work, I got to cross the borderline. I got to be divine minister, not Grand Chief. They don't understand Grand Chief. I'll be a divine minister. You wouldn't even know. Like a baby.
Right.
So,
Islam. Let's see if I
hope I answered the question. I hope I answered the question.
Oh yeah, you answered it more.
So,
Oh, another question in the chat. please ask with due respect, is it partial or parcel?
Man, I like tomatoes and tomatoes. Look, the advantages in life, possessing a good thing, but those to use it, man. Quit. Let's stop debating over those minute things, man. It's whatever you understand it to be. That's what it is. Whatever you understand it to be, man. Like that's not a hot topic. You know, because I know some more gonna say they partial, some gonna say they partial. Everybody got their own. Allah's giving everybody their own portion of understanding to measure seem good unto himself. So if it seems good to them and that's what you believe, then hey, you run with that. Is that gonna affect or interfere with us working together to improve our social economics? You know, and support each other's industrious acts? You know, and it shouldn't, because that's trivial, little petty stuff, man. That's how I feel about it, man. So, tell more, it's whatever you want to do, man. I'm not biting that beat. I'm good. I'm good.
What about your temple is called Unity Temple. What does unity mean to you, Moors, out there?
Well, Islam. Well, we are the Moorish Science Temple of America, styled as Unity Temple number 14. And unity means what it means. Unity. We have divine instructions on that. And if Moors are asking that question, they're confirming that they're not following the divine instructions. I would tell them to read the Quran. And that's what unity means to us. What do the divine instructions say? What does your prophet say? For real, don't become a slave to my portion of understanding. You know, what does unity mean? Because unity means unity. That's what it means. It means unity. I can pull up the Google definition. I even have a Black Law Dictionary somewhere around, and I have a Latin and English translation. And I could look up the words and be technical, but that's what I think about music.
Oh, with regard to what was I just thinking about? I can't remember. All right, more. Oh, let me check the email, see if anybody sent anything.
Wow. Yeah, listen, any questions, man, anything. I really enjoy these moments, and I give honor to you, Brother Joe, for this platform, brother, allowing me to share my portion of understanding with our family.
Islam. What about with regard to the constitutional enforcement orders? You brought up everybody being given their own portion of understanding, and then if we go out of the additional laws, Juali said, you got your 5 senses, exercise.
Islam.
The concept of from the school comes the guiders of the nation, and like what would be perceived as school for you more as I learn? Is it just merely temple, or is there multiple days that you guys have different things going on at your temple?
Islam, yeah. We got 7 days of creation. We got stuff every day. We have public events, 2 days of creation. But I would say just applying my portion to that law, additional law is Act 5. It talks about exercising your senses, exercising your 5. I would remember that we have, the 5 finite and infinite. So, one of the things that we recognize is, we have the five finite, obviously, the touch, taste, smell, seeing, hearing, etc. On those five, however, the five infinite being your first sense is your common sense. We advocate that you use your infinite. You got to raise our thoughts to infinite wisdom. So in order to do so, this is the process. You got to first use your common sense. And that's your first infinite sense. Then your second infinite sense that you will use would be your imagination. Then your third infinite sense you will use would be your thinking. Your fourth infinite sense you would use would be your instinct. And your fifth infinite sense that you would use would be your retention. And these faculties of the mind, these are the senses that we got to raise our thoughts to, that we got to start using more than using enough common sense and applying what it really truly means to be active and uplifting for all of humanity. So the only way we can resolve that is by starting with ourselves. So you yourself got to be the message that you bring. So yeah, I feel like that's how we kind of, that's my portion as far as how we apply it. And we're very active every day. We got Koran study class on Wednesdays. We have Holy Day meeting. We have the MOD conference with my sister, and we have different meeting periods with different auxiliaries. It's just a lot. It's really about the lifestyle, the society. We have an organization called More locally. That's our local branch that we operate out of. Our society more. Me aren't in the temple. That doesn't negate who we are. And we do have a lot of work. We just stay active, man. We keep things on the calendar.
I was asking in the chat, have any parents actually, after seeing the impact Moors have made on the children in the school program?
Yes. 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 It's so simple because so people got to see it and do it. And once they see Moors doing what Moors do, you inspire others to follow that path. So naturally, a lot of the parents, they start asking questions. Like, first question is, are you a Shriner? You a Mason? No, not. And I just stay focused on the program. They want to learn, you come by the temple. We have an organized time and we teach that. But right now, we're here for the children. And that's why it's important for you to really be organized in your public activities so you don't mix the two. And recognize when there's a time and place for everything. So when the parents inquire, if, and it has happened, we direct them and invite them out to the temple. A few of them show up. They're serious. If they're not, then okay, no problem. So that's why it's important to have things planned. If you have activities planned, when these questions arise, like I said, we already got a resolution in place. So, but yes, to answer that question directly again, yes. Parents will ask, everybody will ask. People trying to figure out, what are you doing? And unfortunately, some people find it hard to believe that you really just want to volunteer and help. But it's okay.
What's that approach like? The approach of, just proving them that you want to volunteer, showing them, because, not everybody's just going to let anybody come volunteer. It must be something different about you, Moors, or nobody's volunteering. So it's like,
I think it's just you being committed. We went through we've gone through challenges in which we had to go and get insurance. Fortunately, we were able to connect with a company that wanted to sponsor us and keep us going, and they were able to offer their insurance to sponsor the program. So I would just say, you got to keep going, man, because you're gonna run into political roadblocks. There's gonna be people in different, and who could be different parts of different organizations or cliques or whatever, or just different interests, and they're not going to be supportive because they don't understand. And all you have to do is just keep being yourself. If it's sincere in your heart, and Just this is the will of Allah.
Right.
You know, it ain't about you. If Allah put something in your heart, you got to do it. You got to do it. You just got to do it. And I was just those challenges are real. I mean, I've had plenty of times where I've felt discouraged, and then children, you know, you go see the children, and something great happens, man. So, like, I'm glad I went.
Islam more. That's real. Some of the people that you studied under, other than the ones mentioned, how was the people that you were taught under, how was their approach to you with you know, noble duality in dealing with unconscious Moors? Was it, you know, drag them in by the neck to the temple? Was it go out, give out 500 flyers? Like how does the missionary work as far as getting the word out go out there?
Islam. Well, I mean, I gotta give honor to my grand chief, King Umar Bey, for being a great example and role model. And as far as things that I liked about his teaching style and what I learned a lot from him was just watching how he moved. You know, man knows not by being told. Man learns by seeing and doing. So in understanding the science, you know, just the commitment to the meeting periods, you know, just the simple things that, you know, I think we often take for granted. I'll say that was one of the ways that I learned from them, was just simple things like that. Carrie Linde L, another great teacher of mine. Corey Linde L, another great teacher. Cimarron, Richard L. It's a lot of people, man. And I would just say, just taking the good and the bad, man. Like, everybody got some good qualities and good attributes that you can learn from. So, just as you're seeing different things they're doing, just apply some of their tactics and their methodologies to your own, but still be yourself. You know, don't go trying to imitate or be like nobody else. But if you know something works, let use it. You know, if it works, it works. So, I'll say that would be the way I really kind of learned from the elders, man, and some of my teachers, and always giving honor to them. You know, give honor where honor is due. Remember, there's a point in time when you didn't know what you know. So when you know, I remember the people who were patient with me and took the time, like you yourself, Brother Kudo. You know, you were one that I remember talking to you when I first met you. You know, in the flesh. You know, and you've always been patient, and you know, so it's just always remembering those moments and keep staying in honor. So
Islam.
that's kind of my take on how to learn from the leaders.
Yeah, to GS Kenu, because that more is no joke. That more is no joke. Yeah, yo. He definitely reps the prophet hard.
Islam.
You know what I mean? And yes, and Islam to the twins as well. We've been sending people to the site to go get the books.
Islam.com.
Say that one more time.
MSTA9.com.
Islam. We got about 15 minutes left before we're done. With regard to Europeans, namely the policy enforcers, they're really that inspired to assist, because you know we get this thing that, you know, because we already know that UMORs are active, so we get this thing about, you know, being active has to always do with facing these people in some type of arena all the time. You know what I mean? You know, how's just speak on that, the interaction with them, and how you've eliminated having to deal with them, like how we see some other interactions go.
Islam. I was the way we deal with that is we deal with it head on. The reason why we started working with the police was because Mike Brown got killed a few years ago. And there was obviously a lot that was going, but that was one that got national attention. And at that time, it was a concern brought up by the children in the program. So we just felt like, what if I have a problem with you or a concern, what better way to resolve it than to go face you man to man? Go knock on your door and say, hey, man, I understand you work for this organization. This is my thoughts based off of what I'm seeing and what's going on. And that's essentially, that's the simplicity of what we did. And in doing so, we realized that these are regular people. You know, these are regular people who they took the job to be police officers or law enforcers. Many of them did it for the right reasons. Yes, there are some bad ones, just like they're dirty Moors. That's with any organization or with any nation. You're gonna have people who misrepresent, who don't demonstrate the proper character. However, that doesn't represent the organization or the nation as a whole. That's just that person. And we'll deal with them when we get to them. However, in dealing with diplomacy and in dealing with government, if Moors are quick to recognize that, hey, we have a national government, then don't you think we should talk to other governments, especially if we're all living here together on the land? Like if my nephews and nieces and my cousins and family members attend public schools, and if my family members and my friends and a lot of people I know in my society are paying taxes, if the money is going towards these elected officials and they're getting paid to make policies based off of the money that my family's paying them unknowingly, I should go in there and have something to say. So that's the reason why we have to take our place of monthly affairs in that, because it's our government that we neglected to take serious. You know, it's too caught up in the cares of the world. So as far as dealing with the police, like if that's really your concern, like for real, then maybe you should, you know, be a counselor for the Moors or something. You know, be a minister of law. You know, why don't you be a minister of law? Why don't you come be a sheik? You know, why don't you come be a grand sheik? You know, grand sheik should probably make law and enforce law. You know, that's what we did here locally. You know, and that's another thing. We recently, you know, Senate Bill number 238. When we were introduced on the Senate, legislation that was passed to make a model to Virginia. We know they got these codes. So in addressing our collective rights, what we chose to do was address the code and change the policy to where the public schools and the classic, they will not identify the children by race, ethnicity, or color. Instead, they're going to add an option for other, and the parents can write in what their nationality or their designation for their child is. And we all wrote letters in support of the legislation. And in the letters, we detailed how it was our human rights, the Declaration of Human Rights, the Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People, all the documents. All that stuff was detailed. We had about 7 of our members wrote letters in support of the legislation, and we all sent those letters in to the senators. And we went down to the Senate floor while they were discussing the policy, and we spoke to them, expressing our concern for our members of our body politic and our family members out here in the land, many of them who may not even know what Senate Bill number 238 is about. But it's all right. We love you and we're working for you. However, that was recently done here in Virginia, and it was just recently passed through the House 99-0. So they'll be modifying all of their school information across the Commonwealth of Virginia. Every school is going to have to change how they identify the children. And all we're doing is slowly but surely opening that door to where we got to come in there and teach the truth to our children, because we're the only ones that have it. Like, it's not their job to do that. We got to build up. The prophet said they're going to leave buildings for us. They're going to be buildings for us. So, you know, we got to get ready. And again, going back to the dealing with the law enforcement, rather than dealing with a person's individual court case, why don't we deal with the policies that they're using to govern all of our people? Because now we can focus on our collective rights instead of each individual person or whatever their individual thing is. You know, they should just do a 5.1 constitutional challenge. Challenge the constitutionality of the state statute if you feel like it's unconstitutional. You can look it up, the Federal Rules of Civil Procedures. Federal Rule number 5.1. That you could, if you feel the statute is unconstitutional, follow those rules. Challenge it. Do it to the Attorney General and watch what they do. Like, it's all in there. It's just a matter of you taking the time and actually applying the law rather than complaining about it. You know, you an L or a B, you creating or you enforcing. I'm an L, so we creating the laws. I just gave you an example of how we did it for one, you know, with as far as the public schools and how our children are being identified. But now that we obviously know the process, we can implement this everywhere. And the acts of one state must be accepted by another, according to the Constitution. So if one state does it, all the states got to do it.
Islam.
So that's just a little my insight as far as addressing the code enforcers and these codes that we keep complaining about. Like, let's create a law to change it and change it. Use the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, man. I told y'all we wrote legislation. We wrote letters. We use the pen. All Moorish Americans, coming from the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Islam,
so,
peace and love to that.
Islam, man. Praise Allah.
Right. One other thing too, with regard to what are some of the most supportive things that you've heard, fezzed up, turbaned up, with the Moors or whatever, from these European colonists in favor of what you're doing? Like, what have they said? Because people like to, you know.
It's more so what they're doing, I would say, not and more so than what they're saying, because it's like this. You know, very rarely are the people going to say, "Man, you're right. We do all y'all wrong. You know, mass incarceration is messed up. You know, y'all. We know we poisoning y'all. We know you shouldn't be eating meat. You know you shouldn't be." No, man. It's unfortunately people don't come out like that with us, and they're not going to, and I'm not expecting them to. However, through their actions, I can see that they're trying to let it be let it known to the public that they are in support of the Moorish movement. That's why this humanitarian or all these different things, they know who we are. We've met privately and addressed a lot of these things. Yes, privately, some things that have been shared was he had a discussion with the European man who was a former delegate, and we were talking about how he had just lost delegate seat, and he was barely lost it. And I was like, man, you know, sacred ballots, man, take care of that, man. And he was like, sacred ballot? And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, we do sacred ballots, man. And he was like, all I got to say to that is Islam. He said, all I got to say to that is Islam, brother. This is a European man. You know, and I've had many times Europeans, they just start questioning us about Noble Drew Ali. Just general questions. We won't even bring them up. Just going to show that they know. You know, it's just, you know, are you living? I told you what the judge said earlier. When I shared earlier during this call, was the time that the judge said to me that we know there are legitimate and illegitimate branches of you guys' organization, and those illegitimate branches are making it hard for y'all. It was very disappointing to hear that, because it's like, man, that's the sad truth. You know what I mean? We may not like it, but it is what it is. You know, so that just confirms that we have to do better as a people to really stand in unity. And, you know, instead of focusing on these Europeans, because they're not our problem. The prophet said that. He said, if the Europeans or other nations are helping me, why not you? You know, and that's what we got to really reflect on. You know, are we really supportive of each other and uplift the fall of humanity and working together? Or is it about who's in the front, you know, or who's next to the prophet, behind the prophet, or who's doing this? Nah, man, just keep the prophet out front. Do what he say. And love each other. Work with the Moorish Science Temple of America, regardless of how they learn. Like, don't knock somebody with how they learned about the prophet. You know, however you learn, that's how you learn. However you learn about your nationality, your birthright, that's cool. You know what I mean? I'm trying to tear each other down. Let's build each other up. You know what I mean? What you good at, then bring it to the table. We can all eat and keep growing. Because it's happening, whether people that we, you know, those accepted or not. I know a lot of people are new to the movement. I was too. You know, and for real, I would have never thought that one day I'd be having an interview with Cujo and Moorish life. You know, and I would say it's definitely an honor just for you to have me on this line, brother, man.
Islam, more appreciate you and appreciate your family for letting us steal you for 2 hours tonight, so we can get some work done. Islam. Well, if you want, you can just put out the contact info again, website, whatever else before we close out.
Islam. Yeah, we have website unitytemple14.org. Email address is unitytemple14@gmail.com. And phone number 757-785-4860.
One more time.
757-785-4860. We are in Eastern Standard Time. Please don't call me in the middle of the night. Like, you know, please just, you know, try to be considerate of a brother. This is an international call. I don't know who's listening. And give honor to all of you. Give honor to all the agents on the line. Give honor to all the COINTELPRO. Give honor to all the naysayers. Give honor to all of the foes. Give honor to all of the sincere Moors. Give honor to all of your family members. Give honor to my brother Cujo. Give honor to everyone, and most importantly, give honor to our prophet Nabi Ali and all things Moors. Islam.
And don't forget Moors, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, MHHS, Eyes Wide Open on Blog Talk Radio. Call-in number 425-569-5201. 425-569-5201 and 347-945-5899. 347-945-5899. Islam to Brother Kennick and all the Moors that are doing what they have to do, helping to assist in uplifting fallen humanity. And since before the stuff, let's just hear what's, you know, we gotta close out with something. So let's hear what's good.
Muslims over here at this time. There were no Moors over here at this time. And as Steady stated before, okay, you can't be a Muslim unless you take your Shahada, which means you take your oath, okay, that you take your oath to the fact that Allah and Muhammad, okay, that Allah the one true God. So here's the question. How was it?
Of course, Mars, you already know. And it's our turn to beat them up live.
Islam, and how was it Moors over there if this time frame is before Muhammad was born?
We want to beat them up live. It's not working.
You couldn't have been you couldn't have been a Muslim. So there should be no the point I'm trying to make is this, family. There should be no way.
Wow. It's really like that. That's crazy.
That's really or more Islamic doctrine. And so I'm trying to show y'all the implementation of Masonry. Islam.
It's funny. Funny. Now, I swear.
There's no way anybody claiming any indigenous.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, this person called herself Pharaoh Allah or something. Pharaoh Allah? Doesn't he call himself Allah and stuff like that? I thought these guys want nothing to do with Muslims and all that. They call themselves Allah. It's real funny how Moors went to Dr. Ben. Moors went to Dr. Ben personally. Camera in his face. Hey, you remember Ray Higgins? Oh yeah, I remember Ray Higgins. He was a pastor guy and stuff like that. Yo, you remember, Bobby Hemmett? You remember Sa Netter? You remember certain people? Oh yeah, I remember those people, whatever. You remember Seti? Seti, he used to rep for you so hard. You were his master teacher, all that stuff. You remember him? That's all Dr. Ben's saying. But, certain people are certain people's master scholar people and all that, right? Certain people don't want anything to do with Islam, but they have a North African pharaoh as their stuff. Pharaoh, which is a male, by the way, which we learned in our video today, that there's no such thing as male pharaohs. So are people cross-dressing, saying that they're pharaohs, calling themselves pharaoh when they're really not that? People must be cross-dressing. Is it cross-dressing time? It appears that people are wearing skirts when they should be wearing pants. Because if European knows that Pharaoh is feminine, not masculine, and then Ashra Kwesi taught you clowns that the throne represents Isis' lap, which means and then the king gets the power because he's sitting on the throne, right? He's sitting in the seat of power. Well, the seat represents woman. If the seat represents woman, then how come they're... Seems like they're very patriarchal, seems like they're very patriarchal. It's a theme. Oh yeah, they have wives and all that stuff. They got empresses and goddesses and all that stuff, but they're very patriarchal. I don't think she runs anything in that house with those conscious black guys, those Egyptologist guys. She doesn't run no house over there. Again, yeah, they call her dirt. They call her earth, so they can treat her like dirt. Put her in the back. The only honor she gets is verbal. No physical honors, just verbal honors. I'm telling you, don't let these people play you out your birthright. Having you following some BS because that's how they do. It's a theme with them, right? And remember, they're going to have, we were on that thing for seconds, right? And they have their whole name going strong and moving forward, but all they're doing is talking about Moors and issues with Moors. But they're never going to put that in their stuff because that's how they do. They do their slick dissing, right? They have the 2,000 zombies there who are stateless just like them, that have no facts. People never give you a reference point. More give you reference point of stuff that they changed in Virginia, laws that they changed. Moors changed stuff. Got them to take stuff off of forms and put something else just because Moors wrote letters. Right? This man got slaughtered. Brooklyn intelligence backed out. This guy got slaughtered by Sabir Bey on the couch. Then after the couch, went to the Bey, got slaughtered by Alim Bey. People still talking? People still chasing around people? How was somebody teaching somebody? When, according to them, their own master teacher said we were calling ourselves Moors. M-A-U-E-R-S, M-O-O-R-S. How come the master teacher knows we were calling ourselves Moors? How come? Master teacher knows we were calling ourselves Moors. But these people who claim that they rep the master teacher aren't Moors, and they got everything wrong to find out about Moors. Same thing with Dr. Khalid. Dr. Khalid came, told him, got sense enough to know more. And what they do? Oh, no, they want nothing to do with Moors, this and Moors. Right? This is what they do. Constant denationalization of their people. Forget getting a birth certificate. Forget birth certificate. Your own would denationalize you. Your own would denationalize you. Your own, not the enemy. Your own would denationalize you. But they don't want to hear that though. Right? Again, we don't do this for no views and no BS like that. Right? This is for those who want it. Nobody wants it? Yeah. Then ain't no worries about me. I got my birthright. I know I'm not Negro black colored. I know I'm not Negro black colored. Or Ethiopian or African or any other BS, West Indian, all that BS that they try to say that I am in order to get people under the jurisdiction. It's no different than when we go to the Williams treaties. Let's go read the book. Actually, let's go read that. The Williams Treaties by Robert J. Surtees, S-U-R-T-E-E-S. The Williams J. Treaties. And this is the treaties, how they were able to come over here and have their little city of Toronto and all this BS. Now listen. White settlers, white administrators and settlers were concerned about the security of their tenure in lands covered by the 1787 to 1788 agreements. This concern was increased greatly in 1794, pressured by Lieutenant Governor Simcoe, John G. Simcoe, regarding the impression surrounding the land cessions. Lord Dorchester declared the blank deed taken in 1787 to be invalid. The blank deed is invalid. And listen to talking. That's why we say that we're Moors. Because when you start playing the game with these colonists and their cohorts, you're going to get yourself in some BS. Inquiry has been made relative to the purchase at Machesdash Bay. A plan has been found in the Surveyor General's office, to which is attached a blank deed with the names or devices of 3 chiefs of the Mississauga Nation, or separate pieces of paper annexed thereto, and witnessed by Mr. Collins, Mr. Cott, a surveyor, since dead, Mr. Lyons, an Indian interpreter, but not being filed up, is of no validity, or may be applied to the land they possess. No fraud has been committed or seems to have been intended. It was, however, an omission which will set aside the whole transaction and throw us entirely on the good faith of the Indians for just so much land as they are willing to allow. And what may be further necessary must be purchased anew, but it will be best not to press that matter to show any anxiety about it. Do you think these people don't know that they came over here and ran a fraud, mislabeled people, Indians, who are really Asians, mislabeled people, Negro, black, colored slaves that came over Africa, who were really Moors, mislabeled people, white people, who were really foreign colonial operatives. And we're putting the game back in the hands of the Aboriginal indigenous people by being those people and standing up for this right that we know that we have. That all these same Negroes who have something to say about Moors, all of them had nothing to say when black president got in power. None of them had nothing to say. All of them were happy. All of them went down to the stuff to go jump up and down that, yeah, we have a black president now. But black president signed the rights of indigenous people, endorsed it, just for you Negroes. Why? Because 1 year before, he got the letters from the Moors about our position and our claim. And then after that, then all these cities coming out with their acknowledgement of Moors, and they know who the Moors are and who Noble Drew Ali is. They know who the Moorish nation is. They know all the stuff. They know everything. All of a sudden, they know everything. They know everything relative to Moors' birthrights, all of a sudden. And then because Moors took the position of going with the fact that these colonists called some Asians Indians and then stole their birthright and then start calling them Negro, black, colored, they got caught up and they got lost. Because they're really supposed to be exercising the same way how Moors are exercising. They're not supposed to be talking about their Seti and Pharaoh without Eller Bay. You're in America. You're ipso jure Moorish subject when you're in Morocco. And they never ever go back to where they said that they came from in slavery. So, you know, if you're going to stay here, if you're going to be here, if you're going to make claims and talk crazy here, then obviously this is where you're from, or you would just go back to where you came from. But they don't want to do that. You know, they have their own agenda. They have their own game plan.
Its principles or statuses should be having a Shriner doctrine within their foundation. There's no way. So this shows you the unoriginal curriculum that we're abiding by. And so we prove this with this. Okay?
Now you know what? They got that goddamn fans. They got that goddamn fans when the Ottoman Turks conquered Africa.
That's right.
That's when they got that goddamn fans. If you look up the word Askaris are African, well, it's an Arab word. It means soldier. If you look it up, it's Arabic, it means...
No. The Fez come from when the Ottoman Turks invaded Africa. Really? That's the best that you guys have, the Fez? So you're telling me that Morocco is younger than Turks because Fez tassel ink comes from a tree. So if the ink for the tassel comes from a tree, I'm pretty sure that tree's older than some goddamn Turks. How is it that the Fez, which is named after a place where these things are made, where if they're making them there, obviously they were doing those things pre some Ottoman Turks, because Morocco's been around before some Ottoman whoever. And Ottomans are late people. But again, this is what they do. Try to make you think that some Europeans are the ones who have your birthright. Some Europeans are the ones who are the founders of something, but then tomorrow they're going to tell you about these guys are crackers, they came from the cave. So which one is it? They come from the cave, or did they make fezzes up? Because they couldn't have come from the cave and make fezzes. They can't found fezzes and come from the cave. Because we know the people who came from the cave didn't have any knowledge. When you look at the top of the fez, you're talking about astrology, you're talking about nature, you're talking about laws that's been around before these Europeans. If the science of the fez has been around before Europeans, there's no way that Europeans made the fez up. How do Europeans make the fez up if no sincerity at all? Zero sincerity. The words of their mouth have no interpretation for real, for real. All right? And I seen you over there, adult supervision. I seen you trying to tell them something. I see you trying to tell them something. But like Rael said, you can't tell those punks aren't getting paid off or something. Because there's no way that their stuff, they've been on for however long they've been on, and all they're doing is talking about Moors, but their title has nothing about Moors. And then Seti, he's there shining like baby oiled up for something. Like he's gonna go do the next photo shoot. Right? He's gonna do the next photo shoot, cocking his leg up and stuff like that in front of a next man that doesn't have his shirt on. And these guys are the conscious community guys. These are the guys who 2,000 people think are somebody. 2,000 people think that the guy who's taking naked pictures wearing tights with another man in his background that has his shirt off, that guy's cool. And you want to know how come they have gender washroom stuff and all that in your children's schools right now? Because these people promote it. Because these people are down with it. You want to know why they're teaching your children gay stuff? That they have Pink Day where they teach children about gay stuff. Guys, but you're never, ever gonna look at it. And you're never, ever gonna deal with this European. You're never gonna deal with this colonizer. But when it comes to Mars, oh yeah, they got stuff to say. They got stuff they want to debate. They want to do this, they want to do that. Right? People don't know general of nothing. General what? And again, status is the first issue. Sarah Sutton Seti, that's a stateless name. Young Pharaoh, that's a stateless name. Young Pharaoh Allah, that's a stateless name. Stateless. Stateless people have no standing at law. They talk all the BS that they want to talk live. And again, when you go check Dr. Ben, who's these people's teacher, told them years ago in his books that he wrote that's on the public record that Africans, Asians, and Arabs are Moors. Africans, Asians, and Arabs are Moors. But they don't want to be Moors. They're going to be everything else. Clowns, I tell you.
A soldier. Every fucking nigga in Africa that was either a soldier under the Arab or the European had affairs on. And that's when they got that goddamn phase. All that talking about some ancient this or some you're much correct in saying that. You know what I'm saying? The fairs ain't even got shit to do with Islam. That shit just Turkish headdress.
And this how we go, and this how we gonna prove it. The word Quran, once again, Koran is Turkish. Okay, here's Turkey, way over here in the Middle East. Okay, you see Syria, Iraq, all of that. And so here's the question, right? If you're a Moor, okay, and whether you want to claim Morocco or you want to claim America, why is your doctrine and your ideology from a nation in a continent that has nothing to do with what you profess? Because I can't tell somebody I'm Spanish and I speak Swahili. I can't tell somebody, you know, I'm African and I'm from Ghana and I speak Native American tongue. And so we have to show people the hybrid entities that walk amongst us. Okay, nothing.
No, so when Columbus came here and the people here spoke Arabic, Hebrew, Sanskrit, and whatever else they decided to speak. Oh, they were part of some hybrid whatever, right? Sure, buddy. We're not buying it. Dumb Negroes, 2,000 dumb Negroes who don't know about their nationality and birthrights, sure, they'll buy that invisible bridge for free. They'll buy that invisible bridge for free. But I guarantee you that if one of these Negroes goes and talks, oh yeah, Ishmaelites too on this side. If one of these people goes and talks to somebody from Turkey, from some Arabic country that they're saying is the founding of whatever, they'll tell you that no, it's not them that found it, people before them found it. Just go ask somebody from Turkey. Bet you, if you take a fez to somebody from Turkey and you say, hey, where'd this fez come from? They're not gonna say, oh, it's our fez. That's the Turkey's fez. And if they do say that's the Turkey's fez, challenge them on, well, since when is Turkey Morocco? Because fezzes come from Fez. Fezzes don't come from Turkey. Fezzes come from Fez. So if fezzes come from Fez, how did people in Easter Island get it? Because Easter Island got fezzes. You know, the Philippines got fezzes. India got fezzes. Aboriginal indigenous people in the Americas have fezzes. So if it comes from Turkey, you're telling me that the natives of America, who wear fezzes, they got their fez from Turkey. Really? That's really how your mind works? Your mind works that the Sultan of the Philippines came to America and called himself an American citizen, but the Sultan of Morocco talked with George Washington, but he wasn't exercising as an American citizen. He was exercising as a Sultan of Morocco over there before the Morocco kingdom was even ever established. Stupid people. Incompetent people. Stateless people. My good brother used to say, and is still saying now with his website, nomoredaily.com. Don't be a dumb Negro. nomoredaily.com. Do not have these people waste their time. And brother Don Bay put it on the record. He talks to the Turks at his job, and the Turks never claim that the fez is his, as far as the Turks. Screen share Moors, and all they're doing is screen sharing BS all the time. Right? Islam marks, Bay, you can't have a kingdom without an empire. Right? Islam to all the Moors, you know where we're about to be for 9:30. Peace and love to all. Continue to study. Honor the principles that Noble Drew Ali laid down. And remember the holy covenant of the Asiatic nation. We are our brother and sister's keeper. Make sure we keep them. Islam Moors, peace and love, and we shall build or continue our build on MHHS, Eyes Wide Open, starting right now, blogtalkradio.com, every Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Islam.